On this episode of Liveview Mastery, we are going to be doing Liveview uploads, specifically uploading directly to Amazon S3. So let me show you what the final result is going to look like. We have our Liveview Mastery application with the puppies. We have our new puppy. We're going to name him Buddy. His color is blonde and his breed is Golden Retriever. We're going to drag and drop a picture of a puppy. This is where the magic happens. Actually, I'm going to open up the console so you can kind of see the magic happen. Uploading the puppy here, which is actually going to 100% upload to Amazon S3. We're going to hit save. And we now have an image that lives on Amazon S3. And it actually lives in our application. I can refresh the page. The picture of the puppy is on Amazon S3. In this episode, we're going to figure out how to do this. So let me jump over to our setup branch and let's get started. We're on our setup branch now where this feature has not been implemented. If you go to new puppy, you can see that there is no live view upload option. And now we're just going to go right through the guides, the uploads guide. So the very first thing you want to do to enable an upload on mount, you need to do allow upload, which you're going to name your attribute that you're going to name for your uploaded file. And you're going to say what characteristics or what file extensions you're going to support. And you can, with Phoenix Live View Uploads, you can have support for uploading multiple at a time, but we're only going to support uploading one image at a time because we're only supporting one image. So I'm going to open up the form component that is powering, I'm going to get the code to open up the form component for this new puppy. So I'm going to open up form component and we're going to add that allow line item from the guides. Do that here, and we're going to call it photo instead of avatar in the guides. Notably, we're going to get rid of, until the future, we're going to get rid of this last bit, external. We're going to just set this up. We're just following the guides directly until it tells us to do this, which is, we need this for our Amazon S3 support. So notably, this is the most important thing that I'm adding here, where auto upload has it where when I drag and drop or when I select an image, it will immediately start uploading the image to Amazon S3. This is really important given the way that I implemented this to add this auto upload true flag. So we go to the next step in the guides where it talks about rendering the reactive elements. So this is actually throwing in the live file input onto the form. So we're going to be adding our drag and drop zone for us to be able to add our picture. So our very next step is adding that component to the page. So we're going to open up the form components HTML, and then we're going to drag and drop the form component. The guides do not extract an external component. I ended up in the guides, you just kind of just throw the live file input on the form. For the form component, I decided to extract it into a live component. And the reason why I did that is because very often in an application like this, you're going to want to reuse this upload component. And so what we're going to do is we're going to make a reference to a upload component. It's going to say, what are you talking about? I don't know what an upload component is. So I've open sourced my version of it, but effectively what it does is they've got this Phoenix drop target where this is awesome because essentially it adds just out of the box with one line of code. You're able to just add drag and drop support where a lot of people like to drag images onto your div to be able to upload images. Here's your live image preview. Here's your progress to see, like when you saw the number uptick from 0% to 100%, that's what's powering this. And then you can loop and show all the upload errors. And that's pretty much what's powering this section, this upload. We're in this upload entry section, but I implemented this as a live component. So here's mine right here. This is open source. I'm going to have a link in the description in this video so you can get access to my live component. And so my upload component is right here, where you can see the same thing pretty much, where it's got live file input. You can see the progress. Let me see where the progress is. Right, entry.progress, which is the percent sign of how much has been done. Here's the live image preview. So it's pretty much all the same. The only addition here is that I'm adding a input for the photo URL. The reason why is because we're going to be saving the image URL for our puppy to the database. So let me just show you the schema real quick for the puppy. It's got a photo URL and it's a required field. So that's in addition to what was in the guides, where we're actually going to be persisting the image to an attribute on your object or on your form. So I'm going to copy and paste this whole file, and we're going to paste it into our project. And so we're going to place it under Liveview Mastery, web components. Oh, it looks like I don't have a component directory. So live components, and then we're going to name it upload component. And then we're going to paste. So now we have a component. We made a call to it here where we pass in the module name, Liveview Mastery Web upload component, and we're passing in uploads. So we have @uploads here, which is coming from our, whenever we do allow upload, this actually creates an @uploads variable that is now available in your template. So that's just some magic that's happening under the hood when you do allow upload in Phoenix Liveview. So let me save this file. This now should render. And now we have our drop zone. So remember the drop zone allows us to drag and drop. Without that, well, I don't know how this is all working. This shouldn't be completely working. We don't have all the code for it. That's strange. So let me just show you what I mean about the drop zone real quick. Phoenix drop target. Without this, I wouldn't have been able to drag and drop onto the form. So I'm going to refresh. Normally, you'd have to click choose file and then just select something in your application. So that's step one. Step two. We've added our allow upload to our mount callback, and then we also added the live file inputs and the progress bar and the errors onto the page. In addition to that, we're going to go to the next section, which is entry validation. Now, this one is really important not to miss, because very often you're going to have forms for Liveview uploads where you're not going to need a validate callback. Let me point out there's a big important note on this where important, you must bind Phoenix submit and Phoenix change on the form. Within the context of this tutorial, you're pretty much probably going to be following along with what I'm doing, but literally the feature set for Phoenix Liveview uploads will not work unless you have a handle event for validate and a handle event for save on your form. This is really important. It's cost me hours. It's very non-intuitive, but there's a giant note in the guides for entry validation. Now, notably, in the final version of this, if you go to they have a final version in the guides of all the things that we're doing. We're doing allow upload, and we're going to get to this at our next step. But notably, what it's doing is when there's errors where if you upload too large of a file or too many files, it does some nice decoration of the text on the page. So I opted to do something a little bit different, where I just pretty much I used the Phoenix naming module. If a file is too large or it's the wrong type, I pretty much just take the atom and turn it into a string. So let me show you what I mean by that. Let me open up IEX, and I want to show you kind of what that module does. The Phoenix naming.humanize module, if it says too_large as an atom, it's going to turn that into a string with too large with a capital letter for the first variable. I thought that was good enough, so I didn't implement all the cute errors to string thing that the guides implement. I didn't think that it was necessary. So we're going to move on to our next step, which is we've rendered our reactive elements. I've told you the importance of the entry validation, of having both a validate and a submit callback. Now, something that we're not going to implement in this tutorial is being able to cancel an upload. So say you're uploading a very large file, like 3 gigabytes or something like that. You can actually give them like a cancel button where they can cancel the upload. And we're not going to implement that because we're not doing that for the sake of this tutorial. Now, the very next section is where things get interesting and where I believe that the guides lack power, because if this is if you were uploading it to your local server or to like the file structure inside of your application. What we're going to do is we're going to diverge into the next part of the guide. So the very next step, consuming the file entries, we're going to go to the external uploads guide. So within the upload guides on Phoenix Liveview, when we go to external uploads, it's a separate set of guides. So we go to uploads, there's a link. There should be a link to external uploads. You would right click, open that, and then from here we scroll down and we're going to go to the direct to S3 section. So this is also not within the scope of these guides. Is the actual setup of your buckets on Amazon S3, setting up your Amazon S3 account, making sure that your configuration allows you to put stuff into your bucket with your credentials. That is outside the scope of this guide. You're going to have to do that yourself. But here's where it gets interesting. And now we're going to do that external. So before doing the uploads, we did not have this external flag because that's as if you were uploading directly to your file structure in your application. So now we're going to add this part right here to our form component and auto upload true. We're going to add external. It's going to say pre-sign upload. All right, what is pre-sign upload? So pre-sign upload is actually going to set a lot of the configuration variables for uploading to Amazon S3. So I'm going to clean this up. I'm going to get rid of this. So this was us uploading, setting our upload component. And now I'm going to re-indent this, clean things up a little bit. And effectively what you need to understand here is it's just setting all the configuration variables and setting up a lot of all the necessary boilerplate for uploading the file to Amazon S3. Now I found, and in the guides you'll see that it points to a simple S3 upload file, which is maintained by Chris McCord, who wrote the Phoenix Liveview framework, of course. And he has a file that has all the internal workings for uploading your file to Amazon S3 on the back end. Now, what I don't like about the guides is that it's got all this configuration inside of this pre-sign upload. So I actually rewrote this. Rewrite is a very heavy term. I added a few functions so that a lot of this configuration, which really isn't the job of your Liveview to have all this configuration, I rewrote my own version based off of Chris McCord's simple S3 upload, and I just added some nice things where I added a config function and all the stuff that you see here in the guides where the config OK fields, signed form upload, I have it here as a meta variable or as a meta function. And so instead of having all of this junk here, you can end up with something very simple where we're going to use my version of the simple S3 upload. So I'm going to create that here, or I'm going to grab this, copy, and then we're going to go to simple S3 upload. I don't know where I put this. I think I probably put it in lib, Liveview mastery web, and then let's just call it simple S3 upload.ex. And then we're going to copy paste, and we're going to give it the proper name, Liveview mastery.simple S3 upload. If you want to check out how that file looks, you can look at Chris McCord's version. Mine just pretty much just adds a few functions so that we can remove this configuration from pre-sign upload. And the end result looks like the following, where I have turned this into a one-liner, where the pre-sign upload just makes a reference to the simple S3 upload meta function, and now we just need to alias it, Liveview mastery. We need to bring in the simple S3 upload. And now the pre-sign upload part, that's important because when on the front end, when we actually upload a file, the front end is going to ask for credentials from the back end. And the reason why the credentials on the back end is to protect your environment variables and stuff like that. So what the back end is doing, it's creating a pre-signed URL. It's giving you a URL. It's like creating a URL on Amazon S3 with which you can upload your file. It's doing that on the back end so that it doesn't expose sensitive information to the front end. Because if the front end was doing it, you'd have to add your secret key and access key on the front end. So this is with respect to the security of your application, that this URL, it's called a pre-signed URL. Where, boom, like Amazon S3 creates this URL for you, and then now you can upload your file. You send that back to the front end, and so then when you upload the file, you have the URL with which you know where to send the file to, and you're pre-authenticated, and Amazon S3 allows you to upload to that URL. So that's the very next step, pre-sign upload. And now the actual direct to S3, we're going to implement that in our app.js. So when you actually, this is where our auto upload true really shines, is because whenever we choose the file, it just starts automatically uploading to Amazon S3. But remember, this happens on the front end. We're using the pre-signed URL that was generated on the back end. It gets sent back to the front end, and now we're via the front end taking the file and sending it over to our pre-signed URL. So let's open the app.js file, and let's grab our code, which is we're going to add let uploaders true, uploaders.s3, and I think we're going to paste this right here for now. And the way this works effectively is it's grabbing the backend meta information. See this entry.meta right here? That was the meta, this pre-signed upload. That's right here. That's being supplied over the WebSocket. So we paste this, and don't be dumb like me and just do uploaders. There's one more line we have to do, which is this one right here, uploaders. I lost a lot of time by doing uploaders and putting it in the params block. This is not where it belongs. It doesn't belong in this params block for the socket. It actually belongs in its own part. So you need to do comma, grab the uploader, and add it there. So it's uploaders. And so now we have our front end done. So we scroll through the guides. We've done our backend pre-signed URL that we're going to send our file to. This is now initiating the pre-signed URL and uploading our file to Amazon S3. And I think, are we already ready? Oh, no, we're not done. We're not done. We have one more thing to do. We need to actually save the URL to the database. So in our save callback, this is where things are going to get interesting, and this is where the guides are missing some information. So on the save, here's what I want everyone to do. We're going to update the puppy params. Whenever we click the save button, we're going to update the puppy params with this put photo URLs function. And then this is some special stuff. So this is where we go back to the last part of the first guide, which is the consume uploaded entries. This part of the guide is much different when you're doing it with an auto upload to S3. So that's why the guides aren't complete. They didn't give us guidance on consume uploaded entries when we're uploading directly to Amazon S3. So thank goodness Liveview Mastery is around, because guess what? We're going to figure out how to do this. And so note that it's calling this put photo URLs function, which is going to take puppy params, and we're going to dynamically add a photo URL. Remember, our puppy has a photo URL attribute on it, and that's what we're going to be doing in the live view, is adding our photo URL for our image that got uploaded to Amazon S3. And so here's the magic code that will do all of that work for us. Now, the beauty of this is that it's not that much code. So we're going to be using consume uploaded entries, and it's going to make another call to the simple S3 upload file. And then it's going to grab the entry URL, which is going to be the URL where our file exists on Amazon S3. And it's going to set it equivalent to a list. It's going to have a list with your URL in there like this, yoururl.com. It's going to look like this. And what we're going to do is that we're going to, for our puppy parameters, we're going to set the photo URL to the photo URL that came back from Amazon S3. Now, the reason why it's calling add photo URL to params is because sometimes you're going to want to make a change to your puppy, right? You're going to want to make a change to your, we're in a broken state, but in some cases, say you want to change the puppy's name, we don't want to, because the form, if you didn't upload a new image, the form is going to resubmit the photo URL with a empty photo URL, which is going to wipe out the picture of your puppy. So the little clever thing I did here was, if there was no S3 URL, use the puppy's photo URL, which is already coming from the puppy attribute. So the puppy has the name of the puppy, the color, the breed, and whenever we have not uploaded a new image to Amazon S3, I want us to use our original photo URL that was already on the puppy. That's the magic that's happening here. This is the technique that I've used in all my projects. Please hit me in the comments if you have a different way of doing this, but effectively this is how we're going to be persisting the URL of the puppy to the database. And this is the last piece of the puzzle that we need. And we have an unknown variable, form component line 19. It's going to say, what is uploads? Oh, the reason why is because pre-sign upload, we need to do a little bit of pattern matching for the pre-sign entry, which lives on the socket. We need to do the following, where we're going to grab the assigns. Remember, uploads is coming from when you call allow upload. It just magically assigns an uploads variable. So we save that. It doesn't know what a pre-sign upload is. Pre-sign entry, pre-sign upload. Oh, that's from the guides. I called it pre-sign entry. Let's just keep in line with the guides. So let's just call this pre-sign upload for now. And then boom, we're up and running. It doesn't like this. Redefining module. Okay, no, hold on. Let's just current version. Let me do a mix compile --4. So I see that it's saying redefining module and it's giving me a warning. So I'm going to hard recompile the project to ensure that we have the correct version of the file. Perfect. Okay, so we're back up and running. We refresh, and then we're going to create our new puppy. So the other dog I had growing up was Chocolate. He was Brindle, so he was a collection of colors, and he was a Labrador Retriever. We're going to upload the picture of a Golden Retriever here. Uploaded automatically to Amazon S3. The image preview, all this stuff with the entry progress is all coming from our upload component, which was defined here. All this special, beautiful stuff. And we hit save. A puppy created successfully. Oh, so I still have the hard-coded version image of all these puppies. So what I need to do is just change the HTML briefly to show our dynamic version. So we're going to do that in our index, puppy live index.html, and then our line is line 61. So I hard-coded the puppy picture here. I'm going to replace it with the puppy.photo URL here with the image tag, and that should give us a dynamic puppy image. These are the hard-coded ones, but here's the one I actually uploaded from the front end. And so yeah, there you have it, Phoenix Liveview uploads with direct uploads to S3. I'm sure that I saved somebody a lot of headache, and yeah, let my pain be your pleasure. All right, catch you later.